everyone, Sam Ovens here, and welcome to this training video in week 2 of the Consulting Accelerator program. And this video is titled Alchemy of Self. And so far in week 2, I've taken you through quite a journey of mindset and mindset information, and really started to reveal the new paradigm and worldview to you. And hopefully you're starting to notice a lot of things in your own behavior, and you're starting to notice a lot of things that are clicking when it comes to mindset, and you're able to to really understand the changes that you're going to need to make in order to achieve the goals which you want to achieve. Now, in this video and the ones that follow this video, we're really going to start to take action on everything. So up until this point, we've covered a lot of the theory and the thinking and everything behind it. So I've really explained it all to you. And, there's quite a lot of stuff to explain. But now it's time to really get into the process of things and start executing and start doing some work and taking some action so that we can start to see some massive transformations in who you are, how you think, and the success which you're able to get with your consulting business. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to start off with what is the alchemy of self and why is it important. So I'm going to explain what this means, what the definition is, and all of that stuff. Then the gap between who you are right now and who you need to become to achieve your dreams. So, you've got your current self as you are now, and then you've got your dreams, these things which you want to achieve, and there's going to be a conflict between these two things, because the person you are right now is probably not capable of achieving the dreams that you have set out for yourself. And if you try and achieve your dreams as you are right now, you can get into a lot of conflict and a lot of pain and a lot of anxiety, and it's important to understand this and plan ahead for it so that you make it easy on yourself instead of really hard. Then we're going to talk about transcending yourself and making your character dance. Then we're going to talk about defining who you are at this present moment, as well as the stories and beliefs you carry about the past. And then we're going to define your dream life. We're really going to plan it, design it, really bring some clarity and some color and some detail to this dream life that you want. We're really going to plan it out. And this is a really fun thing to do. And it's so important to do this, because if you don't plan your life, if you don't have an image in your mind of what you're aiming for, then how can you expect to achieve it? This is so extremely important, and we're going to do it together in detail. And what you really want to achieve, and then we're going to look at the character which you must play in order to achieve this dream. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite your own history. And we're going to rewrite your history so that it serves you and empowers you, instead of, is this burden that you keep, dredging up and playing over and over again. And then we're also going to mythologize you. And, we're going to turn you into a myth. We're going to, plan out your story and how it's going to unfold in the future. And we're basically going to write the next few chapters in your life so that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And, this is so profoundly important, and this is the first time I've ever talked about it in any of my trainings. But one thing that I've done is, and I've done since I started, is I've written the future chapters to my story, and I've always come back and edited them, changed them. And, a lot of people think, oh, Sam's story is so amazing. Like, how did he get such an awesome story? Like being in this cubicle, quitting his job, going to work in his parents' garage, then moving to Manhattan, then owning consulting.com and all of this stuff. Well, yeah, it is an awesome story now, but, I created that story, and I knew what I was doing each step of the way. I planned it to go that way. And so when you plan it out and you write the chapters ahead of where you are now, you heavily influence how your life actually goes. Because as we learned in the Seeing for the First Time video, which was the one before this, is that what we experience in reality isn't really reality. It's more reality exposed to our method of questioning. and our hypothesis affects our outcome. A scientist, by just setting a hypothesis and then conducting a scientific experiment, they've already created a massive bias to how that experiment is going to go. And they've actually found that out. And so one of the best things that you can do in your life is to write out, the next few chapters of your life and keep writing them ahead of where you are all the time. Because by doing that, you actually turn it into a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you actually heavily influence what happens. You create a bias. You're pretty much cheating the game of life, because you're creating a massive bias for things to go exactly the way you want them to go. And this is profoundly powerful. And I'm going to show you how I've done it, and I'm going to show you how you can do exactly the same starting today. So we're really going to take a lot of action in this video. This video is pretty light on theory, because we've already gone over a lot of the theory, and I've already really shown you a lot of the thinking and when it comes to mindset and how I think, and the paradigm and worldview which I possess at this moment, and how that's been able to serve me to achieve everything. So I think we're good on that stuff now, and now it's time to just put pen to paper, and it's time to really start taking some action. So what is alchemy of self, and why is it important? Might sound like a weird title. Well, alchemy is defined as the transformation of base metals into gold. They say in those old history books that alchemists were, people who were trying to take different, base metals like steel and copper and different things and turn them into gold. And, this is pretty much turning something that isn't much into something which is worth a fortune. And alchemy of self is the transformation of who you are now into who you want to become, so that you can effortlessly achieve your dreams. Because, I see a lot of people, they try and achieve their dreams as they are right now, and then they really struggle. And it's because, who you are right now isn't the person who's going to achieve those dreams. If I think back to who I was, really anxious and too afraid to really leave the house, there's no way I would achieve those dreams. And so, I had to grow into a different character to really achieve them. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did that and how you can do the same. And so why do you need to change? You're probably thinking, oh man, why do I need to change? I just want to stay the same. And the biggest issue I see entrepreneurs face is what I call an identity crisis. So it's when you've got this dream, you want to start this business. Like with me, I was a shy employee, and I didn't think anything of myself really. And I had no track record of success or anything, and I wanted to start my own business. And, all the odds were pretty much stacked against me. And everyone thought the same, and I really thought the same, but something in me just, wanted to start a business. And, I just had this massive identity crisis. I was like, every single day it was just a battle between, who I thought I was as a person, and, the things which I was trying to do, and the person who I was trying to become. And it was like this internal conflict inside me between who I was right now and the person who I wanted to be and grow into. And this is the biggest issue that I see entrepreneurs face. It's not really learning the tactics. Anyone can learn the tactics. You just need the right mentor, and you need some time, and you need a laptop, and then you can sit down and learn the work. But then it comes to executing and doing it. And when it comes to executing and doing, you really need to be confident with with yourself and your capabilities. And the way to do that is to really work on, building a new character for yourself, because it's very difficult to do as who you are right now. And so what's an identity crisis? Well, an identity crisis is who you are now, and then who you need to become to achieve your dreams. And like I said, this is probably the biggest issue that I see entrepreneurs face on a daily basis. And here's two people having a sword fight or a duel or a fencing competition. And this is pretty much what goes on. You've got who you are right now, and then who you need to become to achieve your dreams. And these two selves are at war all of the time. When I think back to when I was starting my business, I thought I was shy. I thought I was horrified of rejection. I didn't like calling people on the phone. I barely liked ordering takeaway meals on the phone, let alone making sales calls. And I didn't think I was worth anything. I didn't think I was, I thought making money was evil, all of these different things. And so then when I tried to go and start a business each day, these two selves were just at war inside me. One was like, one wanted to start a business and become something bigger, and the other one just wanted to give up, and it was just like screaming at me, like, just give up, throw in the towel, and go back and curl up in bed where it's nice and cozy. And so I always had this internal conflict, and I've noticed that a lot of other entrepreneurs face this too. And so me back then, the current self of me back when I first started, I was shy and anxious, too scared to call on the phone. My fear of rejection was high. I had low self-esteem. I'd procrastinate like crazy. I'd wake up each day and then I would, read blogs. I'd get caught up in different podcasts and different interviews and YouTube videos, and I'd keep planning and planning and planning, but I'd never actually do anything. And I had a poor track record. I mean, I hadn't finished my university degree. I didn't get good grades at school. I had no business successes or really any successes in my life. So, I wasn't that confident with my ability to really succeed. And I had a ton of stories about the past, stories about being humiliated, stories about being shy, stories about being dumb and not worthy, all sorts of stories. And I had a feeling that I was undeserving. I wasn't very good at my job, and I'd never earned much money, and I didn't have much money to my name at all, so I felt extremely undeserving of success. And I had a huge fear of competition. Every market I looked at had other players in it. It had competitors, and I would always just think about them, and all I could ever think about was them. And I was like, how can I compete with them? They're so much better than me, and all of this. And I just had a riot pretty much going in my mind all the time when I was trying to start my business. And then there was the me required to achieve my dreams. And I didn't really think about this at the time because, I wasn't as evolved and as aware as I am now. But really, this was what was going on. The me that was required to achieve the dreams that I wanted to achieve and to do the daily actions I was trying to do each day. I needed to be outgoing. I needed to be fearless. I needed to be able to talk to people on the phone and go visit people and close deals. And, I needed to be the alpha on the phone instead of, a submissive person who could barely talk and was anxious all the time. And I needed the ability to be able to call people, make sales calls. I needed the ability to handle rejection because people were obviously going to say no or I'm not interested. And I needed to be able to handle that. And I needed that to not wear on me and dawn on me. And I needed to feel worthy so that I could ask people for money. And I needed the ability to act today. I needed the ability to get things done and stop procrastinating and going down random rabbit holes and looking at YouTube videos and podcasts and blogs. And I needed the ability to compete. I needed some ferociousness and some sharp teeth to really, look at the market and everyone else that was out there and be like, I can beat them. And, I can definitely just eat that person. Like that is not, that person I can do better. I needed that sort of confidence instead of, just someone who constantly, thought so low of himself and thought that there's no way he could ever compete with anyone. And I needed the ability to focus. I needed the ability to shut out all of the emotions that were running riot in my body and all the thoughts that were running riot in my mind. I needed the ability to just quiet all of those, drown them out and just focus and get things done. And, this was the problem that I had each day. I was this person, but I was trying to do these tasks and try and achieve a goal which was really in total conflict with who I was. And it was really hard for me to do. It was extremely painful. It was excruciating. And it took me a long time to really, break through and start developing these other character traits. And then surprisingly, over time, I started to learn about mindset. I started to read books on psychology and all sorts of things. And I started to implement these things into my day-to-day life. And then it was quite astonishing how quickly things really transformed. and how quickly I really grew into a totally different character. And then I was confidently doing sales calls and everything, and I looked back and I was like, whoa, what happened? I forgot totally about how it used to be hard for me. And then it really struck me that, working on this stuff is profoundly powerful. When I was able to transform myself into this other person and this other character, everything just became easy for me. It was like this was now my daily habit and something I did for fun. And at one time, it used to be the most horrific thing that I could ever even think about doing. And so a lot of people think that, they're just cut out this way and they are this way, but you can absolutely change. And this is coming from someone who, who was extremely anxious and scared when I began. And this gap in between the person you are now and the person you need to become in order to achieve your goals and your dreams, well, I call it the gap. And this is really the source of all mayhem, all fear, all the issues that entrepreneurs face when they're trying to achieve their goals and achieve success. And the gap between who you are right now and who you need to become to achieve your dreams. And I'm probably I'm at least I've seen, I'm the only one who's talking about this when it comes to training entrepreneurs, because a lot of people, they just talk about the tactics. They're just like, here's how to sell, here's some Facebook ads stuff, and all of this. And really, this stuff is the most important. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's important to have that specialized knowledge and those skills and everything, and we're going to teach you those. But this is really, this is probably 80% of it, and the skills and everything are probably only 20% of it, because you can be the smartest person in the world about how to sell and how to do Facebook ads and all of that, but if you're not confident, and if you haven't developed a character who is confident going out and executing on all of that stuff, well, it's all just going to go to waste anyway. And that's why you really need to become a different person and become the person who's going to achieve your dreams. And you might be thinking, but that can't be done. And Sam, I can't just transform myself. I can't just turn into a totally different person. And that's not true at all. It absolutely can be done. And I transcended myself multiple times over. And, here's me at 21, and I was shy and anxious. I had $500 in my bank account, and I had 50 grand in debt, student debt, with no track record at all. And then here's me at 26 in Manhattan, owning consulting.com and making 20 million plus per year with a track record of back-to-back successes. Just printing success stories after success stories after success stories, and keeping on. 6 times growth year over year. Not every year, but in the past few years, it's been massive growth, like 6 times year over year. And not just myself. I wasn't just able to transcend myself. I've helped record numbers of others achieve what's considered impossible, and I've helped them transcend themselves too. And at this point in time, when I'm making this video, we've got 21 millionaires and 452 people making 6 figures. And, that's an insane track record. And that just proves that, I wasn't only able to do it with myself, but I was able to do it with a record number of other people too, in a record amount of time. And now I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm going to really just pull back the curtain and show you exactly, step by step, exactly how it's done. And let's talk about transcending yourself and making your character dance. And this is a really, really, really powerful thing to learn and to understand. And this is a new way to think about yourself. A lot of people they just think of themselves as, oh, this is me, this is my life, this is who I am, and this is just, I've just got to put up with this. This is just the way things are. And the thing is you want to see yourself as a character, and your mind is separate to that character, pulling the strings and making it dance the way you want it to. So, I was really able to separate myself into 2 things. Instead of just being me, the character, I was able to separate myself and just see my character as someone who I could pull the strings on. And when I view myself now, I kind of step out of my own mind and just view myself like from, say, third person, like bird's eye view, and I'm like, what should I make this character do now? Like, how can I control his actions and his thoughts and everything to achieve what we want him to achieve? Because when you're stuck inside yourself, you often get too full of emotions, and you get this strong sense that this is who you are and everything. And it's a totally different way to think about things when you step outside of yourself and just view yourself as just a character, and you're the mind pulling the strings on it. And this is how we can depict it with a simple diagram. So your character is like the puppet on some strings, and your character takes orders from the mind and it gets it done. So the character is like a slave. That's what your character is, and you can make it do whatever you want it to do. And then your mind determines what you want to achieve in life and sets the dreams and goals, and then it dictates orders to the character for execution. So, you can think in your own mind into the future, what do you want? Like, what do you want to achieve? 1 year out, 3 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out, whatever it is. And then you're like, okay, that's what I want to achieve. Now, what do I need to do in order to achieve that? You can plan that out. And now it's time to send orders to the character, to you. And then you start taking action on things. And the character doesn't control, the mind. Your mind is controlling the character. And it's a totally different way of thinking about things. And the problem is that most people have let their character take control of the master. Most people have really built this really strong sense of character and this really strong sense of self, to the point where they really do think that there's just one thing, that's just them. And that's when the character has fully taken control of everything, and it's now controlling the master, and it's taken off on you. And this is what most people have done. But the correct way to do it is to have your mind. Your mind is the master, and it can make the character dance whatever way it likes. And a good way to describe this is, when I wake up in the morning, first thing, say 6 a.m., the first thought that really pops into my head is like, oh, it's just go back to sleep. You're already rich. You've already got tons of money. Your company's going to make money today anyway, and you're an entrepreneur. You should just do whatever you want. You should just watch movies today, or these are the first things that come into my mind, and it's then I catch that thought, and I'm like, no, this is the character trying to get away with some shit. And so I'm like, nope, not happening today. And then I just order the character to get out of bed and go to the gym. And then, and I even like really testing myself by having a cold shower, like as cold as it will go. And, just really testing my strength and control over the character instead of it controlling me. And the same, when you're on a treadmill or a cross trainer, you're doing it, and then these thoughts start to come into your mind again, and they're like, oh, you can just do 10 minutes this time, or just 15 minutes this time. And now if I have a thought like that pops into my head, I'm like, oh, so you want to do 15 minutes? All right, well, let's do 45 today. And so I just make it even harder on the character when it wants to fight back. And this way is really powerful because you can start to exert control over your character and over yourself. And that's when you can really start to get things done, and you don't end up falling victim to all of those different voices in your head which are telling you to do different things, or be lazy, or just give up, or not push as hard as you want to push. It's a really different way of thinking, and it's a really powerful way to gain control of yourself and really push yourself hard. And transcending yourself is when you pull the strings and your character is obedient and walks into battle every day under the orders of its master, and you're its master. Whatever you want to achieve, you can make your character walk into battle each day and fight to achieve those dreams. So let's talk about getting it done, starting right now. I've explained the concept and the theory and the thinking behind it all. Now let's start getting it done. And we want to define who you are at this present moment, as well as the beliefs and stories you carry about the past or from the past. And the first step in transcending yourself and taking control of your character is to pin it down and define what it is. So, the first thing that a strong character that doesn't want to get pinned down wants to do is kind of avoid defining what it really is. And so the first part on, catching this thing is to really define what it is, to get brutally honest and write down exactly what your character traits are right now, what your personality type is right now, what your current situation is right now, so we can really grab a hold of this thing and understand what it is. And we need to take a brutally honest snapshot of who you are right now and reveal this character in every essence possible. And to do this, we need to have some worksheets from the previous modules in week 2. So you should have your pattern of existence worksheet. You want to have that on your computer, or you want to have that printed out next to you. And then you want to have your binary poles worksheet and your Myers-Briggs test results. You want to have that open on your computer or printed out next to you. And so in brackets next to each one, I show you which module those came from. So Face Off with the Devil module, or Duality and the Conflict of Man module. And if you haven't watched all of the videos in week 2, go and watch them now. This isn't going to make any sense unless you do that. And if you haven't completed the worksheets so far in week 2, go back, start completing them out. Otherwise, this isn't going to make any sense. Now, what we're going to do right now is complete your current character worksheet. So that's available for download below this video. And so I'm going to pull it up on my computer right now. And here it is. So you can complete this, you can print this out and complete it with pen and paper, or you can click this link, open it in Google Docs, and have an electronic copy instead. So how would you describe yourself right now in 3 sentences or less? I know it kind of feels awkward doing this, but you want to do it. You want to really describe yourself right now. And be brutally honest with yourself, because you're not stuck as who you are. This is the cool thing. The more honest you are with yourself about your current situation and everything, the easier it is to change, and then you can become whoever you want to be. But we first of all need to be honest about what things are like right now. So how would you describe yourself right now in 3 sentences or less? You can do that. You can pause the video and complete that. Then, where do you currently live? How much money do you currently make, and how much money do you currently have? Let's take a snapshot of this. Like, where do you live? Like, what's the place like? Do you like it? Is it small? Do you dislike it? And how much money do you make per year? And how much money do you have saved? How much debt do you have? Different credit cards. Let's get real crystal clear on this stuff right now. So you want to write it down. And how do you currently present yourself? And what do you look like? So, what do you wear each day? What's that sort of typical outfit that you always kind of end up wearing? Or what's that style that you always end up wearing? And, how do you present yourself? What's your hair like? Are you scruffy, or are you really well put together? And, just write down who you are and what you look like right now. And it might seem kind of weird doing this, but seriously, it's really powerful, because we can't just understand who you are and what your issues or strengths or weaknesses are. We really need to get a sound picture of, the whole character. And what was your Myers-Briggs test result? And this should be a 4-letter code like ENTJ or something like that. Write it down. And then, what are your current binary poles? And this was from the binary poles worksheet in week 2 at one of the other videos. So just copy those over. Just circle the one which you currently are for each one of these. And then, what are your good and bad habits? And what are the things that you do repeatedly? You want to list all of them. So be brutally honest with yourself. Like, what are the bad habits which you have? Do you always sleep in? Do you always do what I did back when I was younger, and always go out on Friday and Saturday nights and drink too much and end up feeling sorry for myself? Another thing I used to do is I'd always get like a massive lunch. I'd eat like a huge kebab or something, and then I'd end up feeling so full and so like tired that I had to have like a nap, and I just ended up feeling like watching movies all afternoon. That was a bad habit I had. So just be brutally honest and write down your good habits and your bad habits. So you might be up at 5 a.m. every morning. Well, that's an awesome one. We don't just want to write down the bad stuff, we want to write down the good stuff too. And then what are your strengths? List 5 of them, the things which you're good at. And you can come up with these, or you can ask other people, what are you good at? And then what are your weaknesses? List 5 of them. What are the things which other people definitely wouldn't rely on you for? And then what negative things pop into your mind on a daily basis? And list all of them that you can think of. Like if you sit down at your desk and you try and do some work, or you're driving around, or just you're walking around, what negative things keep popping into your head? You need to start becoming conscious and aware of these things. Like what things pop into your head and then make you feel sad or down? Write them all down, list them. And then what was your childhood like? Describe it in detail. And this is really important to do, because what people don't understand is that the adult self is pretty much created in order to look after the child self. And so whatever you lacked and didn't experience fully as a child are probably things which you have set out and really wanted to gain for yourself as an adult. And a lot of people don't understand that that's how life works. I mean, whatever you didn't have as a child is what you're going to desire as an adult. And it's really important to really understand this and look back at your childhood, because it will explain a lot about who you are now. And then what past events do you worry about or replay in your mind all the time? So are there these stories about the past that you keep playing over and over and over again? I remember I had tons. I mean, one of them was the first cold call I ever made. The dude hung up on me. And it was the first one I ever made. And I was doing cold calls. The cool thing about this program is we're not doing any cold calls. I'm going to teach you how to get strategy sessions, which is a totally different thing. But when I was doing cold calls, the first one I ever did, the guy hung up on me, and that just haunted me from there on in. I couldn't make any calls. And I replayed that thing probably 20 to 100 times in my head every day. Well, what are the past events that you worry about or replay in your mind all the time? Write them down. And what things do you worry about in the future? Are there things coming up in the future which you're really worried about? Like maybe you're not going to have enough money for something, or maybe you're really worried about this one thing happening. Like, what are you worried about in the future? Write it down. And then what things block you from doing what you want to do each day and working towards your dreams and goals? If you sit down at your computer and you're like, all right, today's the day, I'm going to get it done. What things pop up that kind of block you and end up limiting you from doing what you need to do? And then who are you currently angry at? What people or things do you blame? So are there people who you really dislike and are angry at, and are there people who you blame for your current situation and for you not being able to achieve what you want to achieve? Write them down. And then who do you currently judge, and what do you judge them for? And you want to copy those over from your binary polls worksheet. And then what things do you do? What things do you love doing and could happily do every day? And you want to copy those from your binary polls worksheet. And then what things do you hate doing and never want to do? Copy those over. And then what does the average day look like for you right now? And you want to describe this in detail. We're talking about the average day. And if it doesn't matter if you're a 9-to-5 employee, or it doesn't matter if you don't have a job, or you go to college, or you are an entrepreneur and you work from home, I mean, write it down. Describe your average day. Like, how does it kind of pan out from when you wake up all the way through to that moment where you fall off into sleep? Define it. Write it all down. And then what are your character traits? So if you had to describe like this sort of 4 or 5 traits about yourself, you could say you're driven, powerful, smart, classy, or you could say that you're a procrastinator, you're lazy, you're scrappy, and you're shy. I mean, remember that there's nothing to feel embarrassed about here. I mean, I tell you all the time how bad things were for me back when I got started, and I don't even care about it, because why would I care about the past? I mean, I can turn myself into whoever I want to be. And so there's no need to feel bad about, writing these things down about who you are right now. It's better to be brutally honest, because then we're able to really make massive changes. And then, this is a good one. How do you imagine others gossip and talk about you in a cafe? Just imagine that some others are just gossiping about you and talking about you behind your back. Well, how do you imagine that gossip goes? Like, write it down. How do you think others would talk about you? And really take some time to write a couple of different things here, because it'll be very, very important in order to give us an accurate view of who your current character is right now. And so that's how we define your current character. And that's a very powerful exercise. And you definitely want to make sure you do that one. So pause the video now, complete it in full, save it to your computer, and then let's move on to the next part of this video. Don't move on until you've done it. So now it's time to get extremely clear on what your dream is and what you want to achieve. And whenever I got stuck in a rut or a plateau, it was because I lost sight of my vision and my dream. And if you don't define your dream, you'll become a part of someone else's dream. And this is what people don't understand. If you don't have a plan and a dream and a vision that you hold next to you every day and you're trying to make it come into reality, well, if you don't have one of those, you're just going to end up becoming a part of someone else's dream. And if you live your years, months, weeks, and days without clear intent, then you're going to be part of somebody else's intent. A lot of people, they wake up each day, they walk out to their laptop, open it up, and then they're like, oh, this blog post, or oh, this person sent me an email, or oh, this podcast came out, or oh, this new thing came out. And this is what happens. The producers of all of that content, they're people who want you to fall into their intent. And so immediately you fall into their intent, and you're not in your own intent. And that's how you become a part of someone else's plan. And it's so important to have a plan and to know your clear intent every day so that you can control yourself. And these are the stages of commitment when achieving your dream. So it goes dream, define, declare, decide, design, daily actions, and then deliver. And this is how we really get clear on what your dream is. And it takes a few different stages to get really clear on a dream. And at first we just have, dream is just to think like big picture. You just want to think into the future, like 10 years out, 5 years out, 3 years out, 1 year out. What do you really want? Where do you want to live? Like, how much money do you want to make? What does your business look like? What does your day look like? How do you spend your time? You want to really think about that. Dream out and think. And then you want to define it. You want to start to add some detail to this dream. So, what color is the car? Where is the house? You might even want to look up the exact house on the internet and print it out, some photos of it. And then you might want to, think about where your office is, or you're going to work from home. You really want to start to add some color and some detail and some definition into your dream. And then declare. Declaring it is when you tell other people about it. And when you tell other people about it, it makes it more real. And this is really important. A lot of people, they come up with a dream and they don't tell anyone. And if you don't tell anyone, it's way less likely to come true. It's better when you create these dreams to tell like your loved ones, like your wife or your girlfriend or your partner or your friends or your family or whatever. Tell them about this, because when you tell them about it, it puts you on the hook. You don't want to seem like you're just being like you're just being silly and not going to fulfill on it. it puts you on the hook. All of a sudden you're like, okay, I've told these other people now it's my duty to make it happen. And so make sure you declare it to others. And then decide. You need, once you've designed this thing and you've declared it and everything, now you need to decide that you're going to get it done. You're going to make it happen. And then design, like, what's the business going to look like? What's the name of the business? What niche are you in? What sort of services are you selling? What's the price point? What are the different processes in the business? Like, you really want to start designing it and bringing a lot more detail to it so it starts to become more real. And then the daily actions. So you want to plan out, like, the first year. Where do you want to be in 12 months? And then you want to think back, what do I need to do each month in order to achieve my dream? And then you want to look at the first month ahead, right now, the next 30 days. And then look at those 30 days and break them into weeks. Okay, what are these 4 weeks which I've got here? And then what do I need to do each day within those 4 weeks to start making things happen? And that's how you bring it back into daily actions. And then when you look at what you need to do each day, now you start looking about, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do the next day? And you can just start plotting out your daily actions so that you can really start executing on everything. And then the final stage is to deliver. And that's when each day you wake up, you go out to your desk, you pull out your plan, you put it in front of you, and you know what you need to do right now and today to execute on this and to make your dream a reality. And so these are the different stages which you've got to work through in order to achieve your dreams. And so let's map this out right now. Let's design your dream life. And we call this Designing Your Dream Life Worksheet. And it's available for download below this video. And there is, it's a PDF, and you can print it out and complete it that way. Or you can just click the link here and you can complete it in Google Docs, online, digital copy. So number 1, what is your dream? What do you really want? And you want to make this as detailed as possible. And keep coming back to this each day to build upon it. These are all working documents. They're not just a thing which we do once and then just file away and never look at again. We really want to look at this thing and start building on it each day. Each day you're going to come up with a new idea for your dream, and you want to move it into that picture and keep building this picture until it really becomes exactly what you want to achieve. And what's amazing is that once you can see an image inside your head, like once you can really close your eyes and picture it, then it's amazing how the universe conspires with you to create it. Every time I can get a clear picture in my mind of something and I can really see it, then it's done. That's pretty much most of the work done. The next step is pretty much I'm there. And then define your dream. Make it as clear as possible. Where do you want to live? What do you want to do each day? Where will you live? So you really want to start bringing some definition and some clarity to this. So, where do you want to live? What city? What country? What state? What street? You might even know the exact house. Write it down. And what are you going to do each day? And what will your days look like and all of that? And now define or declare your dream to those who care. Tell your wife, your husband, or your partner, and share your vision with your family and friends. And the more people you tell, the more you tell other people and get them involved in it, the more pressure you put on yourself to perform. And human beings will do more to not look bad in front of other people than they will to improve themselves. And we know this about human beings in psychology. So when you tell your girlfriend and when you really say, this is what I'm going to do for us, and when you say to your wife or something, this is what I'm going to do and I'm deadly serious about this, then it makes it way more real and you're way more likely to do it. And then decide what you are going to do. What is your business, product, or service? And who are you helping and with what? What's your niche? Really start mapping out the business and all the different stuff that's involved with it. And then number 5 is to design your entire business. Map out the processes involved, the different price points, how many clients you need each month, how many phone calls, and what price points the different things you're going to be selling are at. Really bring some clarity to the business. And then daily actions. So take it from the big picture, the 1 year point, and then, like I said, break it down into months, and then break it down into weeks in that first month, and then into days in that first week, and get that daily action plan out. And then number 7 is deliver. And it's your time to commit, do the work, and get through it and achieve your dreams. Once you've got this thing defined, all that's left to do is execute and deliver. And so pause this video right now and take the time to really complete this worksheet in full, because I am not kidding at all. It will completely come true and change your life. It has for so many people that it's not funny. It's way beyond what anyone could consider a fluke, because it's just happened for so many people. So don't be one of those people who doesn't do it. You want to make sure you do it right now. Pause the video, do it. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. And so we've got your current situation. We've really defined where you're at in life right now and who your current character is, who you are right now. And, so we've got your current situation, and then in red, we've got your current character who is responsible for creating this current situation. And now we've defined your dream life, and it's over here. And, your dream life is exactly what you want in life, what you want to achieve, and everything. And remember how I talked about the entrepreneur identity crisis, the battle between who you are right now and who you need to become to achieve your dreams, and how these two are constantly at war and battling with each other? Well, as you can see here, there's a gap, and chances are it's probably quite a big gap. The gap between your current situation and your dream life is probably quite big, quite scary, and your current character is over on this side. And trying to achieve your dreams as this character will end in self-sabotage and internal conflict. So I've seen this happen again and again and again. People try to achieve their dreams as this person who they are at right now, this current character, and it just doesn't work, because the person who they are right now and the character who they are right now just isn't capable of achieving those things, because they just go against the current character in every way, shape, and form. And so you need to become your new character to achieve your dreams. And so this is really how you bridge this gap. You need to define who this new character is, and you need to grow into this new character so that you can get across this gap. And then when you are your new character, it's amazing how easy it is to achieve your dreams. And remember what I told you about your character, who is, the person you are, and you're making that person dance and do whatever you want. And then your mind determines what you want to achieve in life and sets the dreams and the goals, and then dictates orders to the character for execution. And like I said, most people have let their character take control of the master, and that's not what should be happening. Your mind is the master, and it can make the character dance whatever way it likes. And so right now we're going to define the character required to achieve your dreams. We're going to define this character which you need to become in order to achieve everything that you want to achieve in life and in business. And so here's how you define your new character. And right now, to do this, you should have all of these different things open on your computer or printed out next to you. So the first one is the Pattern of Existence worksheet. And the second one is the Binary Poles worksheet and the Myers-Briggs test results. And the third one is the Current Character worksheet from earlier in this video. These other two were from earlier modules in week 2. Then your Dream Life worksheet, which was earlier in this video. And your New Character worksheet. And this is the one which we're going to do right now. So it's available for download below this video. And you can download it to your computer, print it out, or you can click this link here and complete the Google Doc online. So, question 1. How would you describe the new version of you necessary to effortlessly achieve all of your dreams and goals. And try to describe this character in 3 sentences or less. Now, the key word here is effortlessly. So, who you are right now, if that character tries to achieve your goals, then they're going to be extremely hard, and you're going to, it's going to be very hard to do. But if you describe this new character who will achieve these goals effortlessly, this new character should be someone who, eats these goals for breakfast, and then it's just like nothing. It's like, what else have you got to throw at me? You mean that's it? That was all that you wanted me to achieve? That's how you want to start describing your new character. So write it down in 3 sentences or less. What skills and strengths does this new character need to have in order to effortlessly execute on your dream and achieve it with ease? So you're looking at your dream life worksheet, and you can see what you want to achieve. Well, what things do you need to effortlessly, what skills does your new character need to effortlessly make that dream become a reality? Write down the skills this character needs. And then what strengths does this new character have? What strengths is this person known for? What could you just depend on this person for doing? If you had to depend on one person to do these different things, what would it be? And what weaknesses is this new character free of that your current one possesses? So look at your current character, who you are right now, and then look at your dream. And if you've got some weaknesses which are going to cause a problem when achieving your dream, well, this new character needs to be free of those weaknesses. So figure out what those weaknesses are and write them down. And don't worry if you've got some weaknesses which aren't necessary to fix in order to achieve your dreams. You can keep those ones. We don't just want to solve every weakness we have just for fun. I mean, we just want to look at the weaknesses which are going to cause a problem when it comes to achieving your dreams. And this new character can't have those, so we need to write them down. And what good habits does this new character have that your current one does not? So look at your current character and what bad habits does it have? And then look at your dreams and what sort of habits are going to be necessary in order to achieve your dreams. We'll write down those habits for this new character. And then what bad habits is this new character free of that your current one possesses? So if you've got some bad habits right now, and then if you look at your dreams and you're like, oh, these bad habits are going to cause a problem when achieving these dreams, well, write them down. This new character is going to be free of those. And then what fears is this new character free of that your current one possesses? So if you're afraid of doing anything or talking to any people, well, then this new character can't be afraid of those new things. And how does this new character present him or herself? What does he or she look like? And this is important to define because it's a way for us to really understand this, that we're getting into a new character each day when we start to dress up like him or her. And so I'll tell you just recently, when growing my business to this point, I've done it out of my apartment, and I just sat at my apartment in Manhattan, and I worked from home, and I never really had to meet anyone or do anything because it was all online. However, my business has grown so much now that I've got now quite a big office, and I need to be there to manage people and everything. And I needed to grow into a different version of myself. I needed to complete all of this work on myself just recently because I need to become someone totally different than who I am right now to go into this next stage of business growth. And so when defining my new character wears dress shirts and like a blazer and always has long pants on, like jeans. And why I defined this is because, currently, because I got so used to working at home, I would always wear a t-shirt. And now, in order to really signal to my mind that we're getting into this new character, I'm wearing different clothes. And then when I get home at night, it's fine if I change back into my t-shirt, or if it's the weekend and I'm not working, it's fine if I'm just in a t-shirt. because I'm out of that character now. It's kind of like a uniform that we put on when we know we're getting into that character. And then what judgments is this new character free of that the current one possesses? So look at who you are right now and then look at your judgments, how you judge other people. And then you'll be able to tell that you're going to need to be free of those in order to achieve your dreams. So write down those, this new character is going to be free of judging other people. And then what stories about the past is this new character free of that the current one possesses? So if you always dredge up these stories about the past, and if you're always thinking about the past, well, write down those things, because this new character isn't going to have a single thought for this, ever. And then what traits does this new character have? Example, driven, powerful, smart, classy, or procrastinate, lazy, scrappy, shy. Now, this character should have very, very good character traits. This character should be an animal when it comes to achieving the dreams and the goals which you want to achieve for yourself. So really set the standards and set the bar high with this. And then describe what the average day looks like for this new character when he or she is executing and taking massive action to achieve his or her goals. So does this new character wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and does he go to the gym and then, execute violently on all of the work that needs to be done each day? Like, how is that done? Describe what a day looks like for this new character. Then question 13, describe the things this new character loves doing and has an appetite for that the current character hates and avoids at all costs. So if this new character needs to be able to do some, if you need to be able to achieve some things for your dream, if your current character isn't cut out to do some different things, well, this new character should enjoy doing them. So if you're afraid of getting on the phone and doing sales calls, like I was, well, I designed my new character as someone who loved doing them and was hungry to do as many as possible. And that actually became true. I was like 6 calls, 6 strategy sessions a day. I was like, that's not even enough. Give me 10, give me 12. Give me calls on the weekends. If I have one at 10 at night, I'll do it. Give me one on a Saturday, on a Sunday. Give me one at 8 in the morning. I didn't care what you fed me. I wanted as many calls as I could get. Throw me tough ones. Throw me any of them, because I could take on whatever I wanted. And so I built that character up. And how would other people gossip and talk about this new character in a cafe? And you want to design this new gossip here to be empowering. So if you think about how others talk about you when you're in this new character, they should be like, wow, have you seen how that person is able to transform himself? It's like he just came out of the blue and is now just absolutely smashing it out of the park and making a ton of money and is so confident and so driven. Really make these things amp you up. And this is how you want other people to gossip behind you. Behind your back. You want it to be good gossip, and write it down. And so that is how we define our new character, the person who we need to become in order to achieve our dreams effortlessly. Because when you grow into this new person, achieving your dreams isn't a dream anymore. It's the lowest standard for this new person. This new person here isn't happy with anything less than your biggest dream. And this is the difference. Your current character sees your dream as this far-fetched, distant thing, but your new character sees this as a bare minimum standard. And so when you grow into your new character, it's just like, boom, it's done. And then the character's like, what else? What else have we got? Is that it? And that's what you want to do. That's how you really cross this gap here. That's how you really get across this gap and really make it easy on yourself. I see so many people try and get across this gap as their current character, and they're just trying, and then bam, they get smashed down, and they're trying, and then boom, they get back down, and boom, they smash back down again. It's just a current, just keeping on smashing back down. I know this thing because I got put through the ringer with this thing myself. So that's how I understand it so well. But when you become this new character, it's just like, boom, it's done. And you're like, what else? Is there anything else? Because that wasn't even hard. And so that's why it's important to do that. And this is the difference. We're separating your mind from your character. We're creating some separation between these two. And your character takes orders from the mind and gets it done. And that's, your body each day, when it wakes up, it's like, it's just asking its master, what have I got to do? And your master's just like, here's what you got to do today, get it done. And don't even think about taking any time off or slacking off, because you've got to get it done. And your mind is the master, and it can make the character dance whatever way it likes. And now you can see the character you need to become in order to achieve your goals and live your dream. And most people try to attack each day as themselves, and they get torn apart trying to achieve their dreams because it requires you to be somebody who you are not. And when you try to be somebody who you are not, you feel inauthentic, you feel like an imposter and a fraud and a cheat and a liar. And that's because you are being one of those to your current self when you're trying to be someone who you're not. But when you grow into this new self, then it's just a standard for that new self. And it's just like, what is that? All there is? Like, I want more. This wasn't even a goal. This was something stupid. And that's the difference it makes. And when you make a conscious effort to grow into this new character, achieving your goals becomes truly effortless. Because, like I said, as your current self, your dreams are a very distant thing. They almost seem impossible. But when you grow into a new character, your dreams are a minimum standard. And that's all that person will put up with. So they're obviously going to get it done. And what seems impossible and excruciatingly painful for you right now will become a daily habit and something done for pure enjoyment when you become your new character. I've been able to change things which I was absolutely terrified of. And I've been able to change things which I never thought I could do in a million years and which I thought were excruciatingly painful. I've been able to take those things and turn them into things which I do for pure enjoyment. And I do every day and love doing them. And you can do the same with these things too. You just need to know how to, change the different characters and understand that your mind is the master and it's making the character dance whatever way you want. And now I want to talk about something profoundly powerful, which I haven't discussed before. And this is mythologizing yourself, rewriting your history, and creating your self-fulfilling prophecy for the future. And this one is big. And this is the first time I've ever shared it with anybody. And let's take a look at something. I want to show you how other people now talk about me. Like, it's funny, I always watch, people generally tell me if someone else mentions me in something else. They'll message me on Facebook or send me an email and they'll be like, hey, did you see that this person mentioned you on this thing? And I just take a look at it. And it's quite interesting to see what other people say about me now. And so here's this video on Mixergy which I found, and these two guys are discussing me here. And
is that most of the students in the foundation look to Sam like he's some superstar.
He has become that lately. He really has mythologized himself.
And you just heard that there. So they said, this is Mixergy.com, this is an interview, and this guy, Dane here, he said everyone in the foundation looks up to Sam like he's some sort of superstar. And then the other guy's like, well, he really has become that lately. He's mythologized himself. And it's fascinating to see this because how do you go from broke and too anxious to leave your own house? Like, I remember back when I was broke and too anxious to leave my own house, I looked up to these guys like they were people who I could never be in a million years. I thought, Dane and Andrew Warner from Mixergy were such huge, amazing entrepreneurs. They were like my idols. And I was this broke, anxious kid, too afraid to leave the house. How do you go from being that to having them talk about you like you're some kind of mythical legend? And what does mythologized mean? What does this really mean? Well, here's the definition. It means to talk about or describe someone or something as a subject that deserves to be told about in a myth or legend, to make someone or something seem great or heroic. So when a man becomes a myth is when, the story about someone becomes like something which a lot of people are talking about. Like, if it's people talking about like Mark Zuckerberg's story, or people talking about, different entrepreneurs and the different stories they went through. It's like it becomes a myth, and people are always talking about it. And it's like, when it becomes mythological, it's like, it's a legend. And, this is a really powerful thing. And the truth is it's all about the story. And that's how you do it. That's how I do it. That's how, I've been able to achieve all of this. It's all about the story. And so here's my story as I currently tell it now. Like, I worked in this corporate job. I didn't like it. I quit. Then I went to my parents' garage, started my own business, and then, it failed. And here's a picture of me looking, really young and innocent when I failed, and, I tripped over again and again. And then I started a consulting business, and then I moved to Manhattan, and there's this image of me there. And then I made more than 10 million by the time I was 26, and it's grown a lot more since then. But, that's when Entrepreneur and Forbes and all of these different news places did stories on it. And then here's my student success and what I've been able to help other people achieve. And then here's me in Manhattan, like sitting on the front of my desk with the motorbike in the background. I introduced that motorbike in there so that it would become part of like the myth. I wanted people, when they talk about it, to be like, have you heard about Sam? He sits on the front of his desk and he's like, you can see Manhattan in the background, and he's got this big apartment and there's like a motorbike in the background, and he's got a New Zealand accent, and he talks about his parents' garage and stuff like that. I built these things into this like a myth. And then have you heard about, how he takes his millionaire students on a private jet, and, there's photos of them. And then this next stage, which is just recent, was, have you heard that Sam's, purchased consulting.com now, and he's got this massive office in Manhattan, and, he's now making more than 20 million. Like, this is the story which I've really been able to build and design. And you might be thinking, well, that's one hell of a story. And that is what you call a story. Someone who went from being in a job which he didn't like to starting a business that failed and being in his parents' garage to moving to Manhattan and owning consulting.com, that's one hell of a story. And it truly has become myth, just like I showed you. And now you're probably thinking, but I don't have an amazing story like that. And I can't say those things. Like, I can't create an awesome story like that. Well, here's the thing nobody knows or can understand. I consciously created that story from the moment I quit that job in that cubicle all the way through to now, and I've got it planned for more than a decade into the future. And so I didn't know back when I quit my job that I was going to own consulting.com. I had no idea about that. And a lot of the most recent things. But I did know at that moment where I quit my job that one day I was going to look back at that moment and be able to tell that story. And that's why I took that photo of my cubicle, because I thought I need to document this to be able to tell people about my story and how I made this all happen. And then when I was in my parents' garage, I thought, I need to get a photo of this. I need to be able to show people that I truly did start in a garage, because, this isn't, I'm not going to be here for long. Like, I'm going to be out of this thing pretty soon, but I need evidence. I need to be able to tell this story. And then when I moved into Manhattan, I got that image there and started to build that into it. And then when I started achieving 10 million and stuff like that, I started building that into my story. And then when I started to get massive success for my students, I built that in. When we went on the jet, I took photos of that. And when we, got consulting.com, I took photos of that. And I'm constantly building this story, and I've consciously created it from the beginning. Like, good stories don't just happen. Good stories are planned. Good stories are built to spec. And so what a lot of people don't understand, they just look at my story and they're like, wow, how that is one hell of a story. Well, it's because I made it like that. I'm always thinking of that next step ahead. Like, it gets a bit more challenging the better you get to make your story even better. And that's why once I'd already been in Manhattan and had that amazing apartment and achieved all of that success at a young age, I thought, what's next? What can I add to this story which is just going to absolutely destroy it? Like, what's something which is just can take this story 10x? And I thought, well, consulting.com. I need a brand and a domain that says that it owns this industry. And consulting.com, I mean, that word defines the industry. And so that's what I did. And then I thought, well, I need to build this into a proper company. Instead of just it being me and having a couple of assistants and stuff, I need to turn this thing into an absolute animal. And so I decided to get a Manhattan office on Madison Avenue, and I decided to spend a lot of money fitting it out. And I spent a significant amount of money fitting that thing out custom. And now I've been building the dream team, getting all of the people together. And I've got plans to build this thing big, like well into the hundreds of millions, and then I plan to IPO it, and I plan to do all sorts of different things. And so I've consciously created this story along the way, and that's why it seems so awesome, because it just didn't happen by chance. No awesome stories happen by chance. And let's show you how I did it and how you can do the same. So this is the Mythologizing Yourself worksheet. And to complete this one, you want to have out these different worksheets. And this final one, which is in bold, is Mythologizing Yourself worksheet. And so it's available for download below this video. And it's a PDF, and you can download it, print it out, save it to your computer, or you can open up with Google Docs. And the first question, look back at your life and your childhood and the negative things that you experienced, and see how you can turn those around to be lessons that you're thankful for in order to make you who you are today. And add any pictures if possible. So like I looked at the time when I had my job at Vodafone, I hated it. I felt like a small, insignificant person. But I thought, well, I'm just going to take a photo of this now, and I'm going to write this down in my story here, because truly I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful that I got this job and that I figured out I didn't like it, so that I could do something about it and so that I could make an improvement. And then when I was in my parents' garage, I took a photo of that and I was like, I'm going to write this into my story. I'm thankful for this, because having these humble beginnings and everything, they've made me hungry to actually achieve something. And when I get into an amazing apartment and I look back at that garage, I'm going to feel a sense of accomplishment. And in my childhood, I grew up shy, and I grew up, not smart at all. People told me I was dumb and everything. And so, and I also had a poor family, so experienced a lot of lack growing up. And so, instead of being all angry about all of that stuff, or being sour about it, I found photos of different things, put them into my story, and I wrote down that I was thankful for them. I was like, I'm thankful that I got told I was dumb and everything, and that I was shy and everything, and experienced lack in school, because, this has helped me to develop hunger, to prove myself and make a stand towards reforming education and employment. And that's what I want to do now. Because I didn't get on very well in the school system or the college system, and I've noticed that lots of other people don't get on very well with it either, I want to make a stand against that now and change it. Because I feel like a lot of people, they get put down by the school system and put down by teachers and other people, and told they're not worth anything, and told that they're stupid or they're dumb. And it's not true at all. Those people can hand it to the smart kids. And I've proven that every day. So, that's why I'm thankful for that. And so you see what I did. I rewrote my history. Most people, they are sour about their history and they hang on to it and they're like, oh, poor me and everything. Well, I rewrote all of mine. I took everything that ever had happened to me that was bad, and I rewrote it as something that I was thankful for because it made me stronger. And this is what you want to do if you want to be really successful. You can't have stories of the past that you're sad or sour about. You need to be thankful for all of them, because the pains and the lessons which you have in life teach you lessons, and you just need to look at problems and pains as lessons learned, and you need to change them all around, because your past pretty much dictates your future if you let it. If you look at your past and you think it was all bad and horrible and everything, well, chances are you're going to create more of that in the future. But if you look at your past and you're like, I got dealt all of that bad stuff, and I was able to live through it all, and I was able to get through it all, and it taught me lessons, and it made me stronger. Well, now you've turned into an animal that's going to be able to take on anything. Because, it's like life threw you all of that, and you're still here, and you're like, is that it? Is that all you got? Well, that's how you want to make it. You want to make your past like that, like just a series of challenges that weren't able to break you, instead of all of this bad stuff. And that's step 1 to mythologizing yourself. Step 2, what events or milestones can you build into your story right now? And add any pictures if possible. So, for example, if you have a 9-to-5 job, take a photo of your current desk and then write it down as the first chapter about how your life is right now. So, you could write down chapter number 1 would be like my childhood. Like, I got told I wasn't smart, or I had a troubled childhood, or whatever. But I'm thankful for that, because it turned me into who I am today. It taught me a lesson, and now it's made me want to make a stand and prove myself to show everyone that they were wrong. And then take a photo of your 9-to-5 job. Be like, I had a 9-to-5 job and I didn't like it. And that's when I figured out I needed to start a business. Like, start building your story. Start building your myth. And you don't need to put this out on the internet. You don't think that you have to show anyone this, but you want to keep it for yourself, because once this stuff starts to come true, that's when you start putting it out on the internet. And then people learn that you're this massive force to be reckoned with, because you just keep building these new chapters into this story, which already seemed like it couldn't get any better. And then what's the next milestone in your story? The way you want it to pan out. So look at your dreams. How do you want the story to pan out? You want to start mapping out these chapters into the future. And if you don't think that the chapter can come true, well, that doesn't mean that it's not going to come true. You want to write it down. Like, I wrote down things in my story that, seemed far-fetched, and I made them happen. That's how you create myth. That's how a man creates myth. He writes the next chapter to his life, and then he goes out and he makes that come a reality, and then he puts it out into the public. Then he writes the next chapter to his life, makes it come a reality, then he puts that out in public. And, keeps writing the chapters and defining them and then smashing them out in real life. And you want to define out, the next few chapters. So, for example, I decided to start my own consulting business, and I grew it up to 10 grand a month within the first 3 months, and then I quit my 9-to-5 job to go all in. That might be the next chapter to your story, after the one where you were in your 9-to-5 job and decided there was more to life. Then the next milestone could be, I grew my consulting business to 30 grand a month in the first year, moved out of my apartment and into my dream home. And you want to add an image into this, if possible, and really start writing out the different chapters. And then number 5, add any other milestones well into the future for your story, the way you want it to pan out. And add any pictures to represent each milestone, and write a description next to each one. And aim to write your story 1 to 3 years out of where you are right now, exactly the way you want it to happen. And then consciously put that into action every day, pushing to achieve that next milestone and tick it off. When you create your own story, when you write out the different milestones and the different chapters like this, it's amazing how it starts to come into reality. The more we can start writing the next chapter of your life ahead, then the higher the chances of that coming true. And so that's the mythologizing yourself worksheet, and you want to pause this video now, complete it. Don't be that person that doesn't do the work, because the people who don't do the work don't get anything. Now you understand who your current character is. We have a very clear definition of who that person is. And we have a definition of the dream that you want. We understand that dream in vivid, rich detail. And you want to achieve, we understand the dream which you want to achieve for yourself. And we understand the character you need to become in order to achieve it. So we know the person who you need to grow into and develop into in order to make that dream a minimum viable standard instead of a dream. So, we often don't achieve our dreams in life. We achieve our minimum standards. So that's why in order to get what you want in life, you need to grow and develop into a character which achieves that dream as a standard instead of a dream. Because as soon as you go into that new character, you're going to achieve that and be like, what's next? Because that wasn't even a dream. That was just something which is a standard for me. And that's how you do it. That's how you get it done. And this is a totally different way of thinking about things. Because everyone else thinks about dreams and dreams. Oh, what's your dream? Design your dream. Then they're like, okay, now go out and make your dream happen. And then person never gets dream. It doesn't happen that way. Because who you are now isn't who you will be when you get your dream. And the truth is that you have to, we don't achieve our dreams. We only ever achieve our standards. So the trick is to become a different person and design that person so that your dream is their minimum standard. It's a hack. And it's a profoundly powerful hack. And so remember this, you've got your mind and your character. And your mind determines what you want to achieve in life and sets the dreams and goals and then dictates orders to the character for execution. And then the character takes orders from the mind and it gets it done. And your mind is the master and it can make the character dance whatever way it likes. It can take the mask off the character, put a different one on it. It can make it march into battle every day. It can make it do anything. And when the character tries to kick back and say, no, not today, the mind just throws the character in for twice as much as what it is used to. And so here is a pin-up and a quote to conclude this video. So who's pulling the strings with you? Most people's character has become so strong and defined that it's reversed the roles and it's pulling the strings on its own master. You have to pin your character down and define exactly who it is and what it's capable of, and then figure out what you really want to achieve in life and see if that character is fit for the job. And if the character isn't fit for the job, it's time to design one who will achieve it with ease and make the conscious decision to grow into that new character. And your character is changeable and you pull the strings. And so that's a powerful quote to end this video, because people have really got personal development wrong. I mean, it's not about creating your dreams. It's not about making the most of your strengths and forgetting about your weaknesses. That's some feel-good stuff which isn't really feel-good, because it ends up not working and then you end up not feeling good. So, this is totally different. This is a new way of thinking which I've introduced to achieve your dreams, and it's to become a different person, and it's to become the person whose dreams aren't dreams, they're standards. Because we don't achieve our highest dreams, we only ever achieve our minimum standards, and that's the way to hack it. You want to separate mind from character, and you want to start viewing yourself as just a character who your mind is in control of at all times. And you can change that character around to be whatever you want it to be. So that's it for this video. Make sure you do all the action items, because this one module is a powerful one and it will completely change your life. And I'm dead serious on that. You've seen the hundreds of people whose lives have changed with this work. So make sure you do the work. Make sure you put it into practice. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.